Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, for a very special edition of Double Barrel Gaming Presents. That's right, ladies and gentlemen. I didn't make a mistake. Where's Music 72 when you need him? I know he's in the chat. I'm sure that there's going to be like, that Boomstick probably made a mistake because he's an old man. Well, no, now I did make a mistake. Damn it. It's real. We're going to talk about opening night live a little bit. We're going to talk about the Xbox showcase that happened. That's actually still happening. It was a long 3 hours. It was by Xbox On, which, look, great group of people over there. It was long. I have some highlights. We're not going to go over every single announcement. We are specifically going to be talking about the ROG Xbox Ally because, wow, some big information just posted. We had a leaked price, which is what we kind of expected, but we also got a story here, and I just pulled it up, man. This is pretty interesting. This comes the way of Mike Straw. Now, I got to be honest with you. I don't know Mike personally. He's become one of my favorite journalists. He's a writer and journalist for Insider Gaming, the InsiderGaming Network.com. And he actually just posted something. We're going to get into it. And of course, I was originally thought to stream by myself because, listen, this is unprovoked, right? This is an impromptu. And well, I reached out to Fuzzy Belvedere, and I got to tell you, man, he not only is the hardest working podcaster in the business, I'm happy to call him my brother because, of course, he has arrived on the scene. Fuzzy Belvedere, thank you so much for spending. Again, this is going to be a full hour, 90-minute show. It's only expected to run about 45-ish minutes, maybe an hour, because obviously we still have things to do. If you want the full deets, as the kids like to say, tune into this evening. Now, so far it's just me and Hargeet Chani, which that's fine because obviously Hargeet can hold his own. Normally Primetime Gaming is myself, Hargeet, and of course Keasante. But Keasante is in Germany covering Gamescom for his channel. So we might do a 75-ish minutes show this evening, kind of breaking down everything that happened with opening night live, everything that's happened already so far with day one for Gamescom for Xbox, and maybe we'll get an updated price and actual, because we know the release date is in October, but we don't have a pre-order page ready. Maybe that'll happen this evening. But Fuzzy Belvedere, what's going on, brother? How you feeling?
Oh, I'm feeling great. Glad to be here. Thanks for the call and everything. And yeah, man, it's great when Xbox is showing some shadow drops. Like I think Square dropped something here today.
Yes, they sure enough did, man. Triangle something or other.
Yeah, strategy.
I saw Pong Soul getting very excited about it because he loves those strategy games.
Oh yeah, and yeah, it's, even though this isn't like their big showcase like the one in June, it's definitely cool to see some games. And even opening night last night had some pretty cool games that are coming to Game Pass, like the was it Routine, that robot killing
yes,
nightmare game? Yeah,
freaking awesome, dude.
But yeah, just glad to be here. Yeah, we're going to get into possible reasons behind that delay on some stuff. But yeah, let's get into
it. I mean, you know what? Let's start, because I know somebody in the chat had asked, "Hey guys, can you talk about opening night live?" And again, we're going to go into more detail this evening. So of course, tune in to myself and Hargi Chani. Maybe we'll get a guest or two to jump on with us. I reached out to Mav to see if he might be able to join us, but he's been super busy, so I can't guarantee that he'll join us. But we're going to give it the old college effort. So Fuzzy, I already know what my game of the show was, and people are going to be like, "I can't believe that's your game of the show. Why isn't it Black Ops 7?" Because it's not, and it's not because Black Ops 7 didn't blow my mind, because it did. But what for you was the game of the show for Jeff's? Because look, I'm going to be honest with you. I know a lot of I listen. I give him some flack for his behavior sometimes, but I'm a fan of Jeff. I like Jeff. I like his shows, and maybe that's not the greatest opinion, or the more popular opinion, I should say. And I don't care what anyone thinks. Honestly, if you don't like him, that's just your prerogative. You don't have to like who I like, but I like Jeff. And I like what his shows bring to gamers. And that is a lot of games. And sometimes it's games that we didn't know we needed in our life, like my game of the show. And it's surprised the H out of me because I'm a kid from the 80s. And holy shit, my mind was blown. and we need more like this. But we'll get to my pick. But Fuzzy, what was your pick of the show for the
Well,
opening night live?
I have a feeling I think I know which one was your pick. I'm not going to steal that one, but I'm waiting on two similar games. But I'll let you unveil yours.
No. But listen, speak on it, brother. It's fine. I have a lot to say, so it doesn't matter. So I know what you're gonna say. Go ahead and say it, man.
Well, the He-Man game was pretty cool.
Yes.
And when I said that there's two other games I'm kind of waiting for that are kind of similar, there's the Toxic Avenger game as
I
well.
played that, by the way. I got a chance to play that in LA for about, I want to say, oh my God, we played about 25 minutes, and the 4-player co-op, oh my God, bro, it was so freaking good. It looked, the characters looked so good in Toxic Avengers that you look like you could like pick them out of the screen, like figures. Oh my God, it was phenomenal.
And the He-Man game, what they showed yesterday, I think is on board that same level, and we need more of those beat 'em up style games. Like I can't get enough of them. The other one is the Jay and Silent Bob one, but I think that's only on Steam at this moment. I know the Toxic Avenger ones is coming to console at some point, or whenever it releases, it'll come to console as well as PC. But He-Man looked awesome. But for me, because it's a bit of sci-fi and horror, Routine was that game of the showcase for me. Like, I remember seeing that at, like, it wasn't a dev direct. It was, I think it was like a Summer Games Fest thing, and it said Game Pass at the time, or maybe it was on one of the partnered dev directs or something like that for Xbox. But I remember that being Game Pass, and I was like, that's cool. And how come nobody's talking about that game? And now we got to see some more of it. Like, if you're having to run from these like murder bots, is what I always refer to them as. I'm looking forward to seeing what that game is like as far as when we get our hands on it and stuff like that. But there were some other cool ones, but those are probably my two biggest standouts. But Routine for me was the game of the showcase. Now I'm gonna say Black Ops 7 looked phenomenal. I love that they're doing a PvE type, like co-op type of thing that's not zombies per se. So I like that they're changing a few things up or trying some new things. But yeah, give me the murder bots in a nightmare scenario, sci-fi kind of crossover. I mean, it's not quite like iRobot level where you got to worry about tons of them, but yeah, I'm definitely looking forward to that game.
You know, it's funny you mentioned Black Ops 7, and of course, you know, look, it looks like a wacky trip, right? That's like an LCD trip, or I said LCD, LSD trip, I should say. And I don't know, folks, because I've never done drugs. Hell, I don't even drink. But the way that I mean, you saw that like there was towards the end of the trailer, someone's ginormous hand like Godzilla came onto the board, and they're like, "Holy shit, we're fighting Godzilla!" I'm like, what is happening here?
Yeah.
So again, can anyone in the chat confirm, or even you? They showed a quick, the camera panned, and they showed a top-down look. It looked like a Vampire Survivors type of mode.
I don't know if that's going to be like an ongoing thing. I think that will be possibly for that one section type of deal.
Oh,
but
okay. So I actually thought it might be like a mini game or something, because that would be, oh my God, that would be amazing.
Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised, because like I said, I love the fact that now that Activision's under the Microsoft fold with Xbox and everything, I like that they're exploring or trying different things, or
Sure.
you know, doing some innovation in the game. But yeah, it definitely feels like what you would expect if somebody took LSD kind of thing, because you got floating islands, you got you know, this hyper like colorful, you know, static and like blink in and blink out type movements and stuff. It's like, yeah, it definitely fits, I guess, with the Black Ops, where it's like the mind games, and I'm assuming you're either under some sort of hypnosis or connected to a UV, or not a UV, an IV of some sort of hallucinogen or something. But yeah, that it definitely looked crazy. But I would definitely like to see a Vampire Survivor like mode kind of thing, or more of a top down, even if it's like a twin stick shooter, for like a mini game, not the whole game, but like for a mini game, that
I
would
like a
be pretty
mode,
cool.
bro. Like, they have okay, so they have zombies, they have multiplayer, they have single player. If they made their own Vampire Survivors mode, bro, like sign me up right freaking now. Like I'm not a rogue guy. Like I am
Mhm,
like, just not my thing. But something about the games that are like Vampire Survivors, and again, there's a couple of them. The one I'm playing right now is Achilles Survivors. If
mhm,
you're, an old school D&D guy, that actually Achilles was the name of my D&D character from 100 years ago because that's how
mhm.
old I am. But again, I was like, Achilles Survivor is, I think it's like 10 or 15 bucks. It's not expensive, and it's actually it's so different than Vampire Survivors, but also the same because you have to run around, you get different powers, you use those powers, you level up those powers, but there's a building aspect to it where you have to make these traps, and the traps have like flaming darts, poison. There's one that with battle axes that go around. There's ones that heal you. You can create a store to buy extra powers. It's freaking crazy, but it's so good. But yeah, I mean, just bringing it back to opening night live again. Another solid show for Jeff. Was every game a hit? No, but what show is honestly? So some games were for me, some games weren't. I watched it, I enjoyed it. Um, Game of the show, folks. No, it's not Black Ops 6. It is He-Man. Oh my freaking! You know what? When the way that the developer did the trailer, but holding the He-Man figures, like
Mhm,
I had those figures in the 80s.
mhm,
I had Battle Cat that you used to, put on his armor with that, the helmet used to slide. I had all of that. I never had Castle Grayskull, surprisingly enough, and I had most of the bases for like GI Joe and the
mhm.
Transformers, and I had most of them. I never had Castle Grayskull. And when they're doing the figures and they're like this on the motion on the screen, I'm like, what are they doing? And then it panned back, and I was like, holy shit, E-Man looks freaking awesome. I
Yeah.
mean, look, I know who was it that said it? Yes, BT Maverick says Boom is a survivor's addict. Yes, you know what it is about that? And I'll come back to He-Man. I'm sorry I'm all over the place because I'm excited.
Mhm,
The reason why I like those Survivor games is because I don't have as much time to game as I used to. Like I find myself gravitating towards. I mean, don't get me wrong. Like, I'm playing Mafia, and it's
mhm,
stunning, right? I'm playing and reviewing Gears of War Reloaded. I can't talk about it yet. Wait till the 26th. Don't
mhm.
worry, folks. I have a lot to say. So there are games that do take my time, but sometimes when I don't have a lot of time, like let's say I'm getting ready to leave the house to go get Mrs. Moon from work, and I have 20 minutes. I could jump into these survivor games, get around in, get a bunch of powers, and even just because I get that's where quick resume is the best. I mean, I don't know how we lived as gamers without it. It's crazy because the way I used to do it is I used to like go to school and specifically say, "Mom, do not go in my room. Do not touch my freaking controller because the game is paused." Oh, that's stupid.
Mhm.
Why do you got to pause the game? You're gonna cause a fire. It's fine. Don't
Yeah.
touch it. So we used to everybody knows what I'm talking about. You go to school
Mhm.
and you'd come back and you'd be praying to the gaming gods that a game without a memory battery would didn't reset or something. So but yeah, that's why I've become such a fan of those survivor games because you could jump in, jump out. But getting back to He-Man. Salt Wagon says he missed that one. Go back and watch it, bro. The animation is freaking stunning. Like the detail on He-Man and the other characters, like the Master of Arms. Oh my god, it looks so freaking amazing. Look, you've heard me say this. I know Capcom doesn't listen to this show. Hell, they don't even know who the hell Mr. Boomstick is, and why should they? I've only been buying their games since the NES days, right? I've been a Capcom fan since way back in the days.
Yeah.
To this day, at least once a year, via ROMs. And I'm not going to tell you where I got them, but I play because there's no official release of it. Aliens versus Predator.
Yeah.
It is my favorite side-scrolling beat 'em up of all time. I know that there are hundreds of them. You know, Streets of Rage, Altered Beast, Golden Axe, a Final Fight. You name it, you can add one in there that's probably better than this. But I'm an Aliens and Predator dude. Like I have been since inception, and that's my favorite. And I don't know if Capcom is ever going to release it. Like because they just released Punisher with Nick Fury. I don't know if you guys anybody played it. It was in that Capcom collection or the Fighting collection. The Punisher side-scrolling beat 'em up is in it. I mean, of all things, right? Like that's so weird and that's so like off the cuff. Punisher, and I beat it. I like 4 times already. I love side-scrolling beat 'em ups. They're my favorite. I know some people in the chat. I think it was Thanaros that said that he's kind of over them and his favorite is Streets of Rage 4. Brother, that's not a bad pick. That was a phenomenal game. Oh my god, so freaking good. But
Yeah, I think that one when that other dev brought it back, that kind of brought the whole genre back.
I
Like
agree,
ever since
100%.
then,
Yeah.
Ninja Turtles. I mean, it's. I don't think we can get enough of them. I mean, I'm a bit of a nostalgia guy, and for me, these games work for like the handheld. Like I've
Oh
been
my
playing
god,
mostly on like my
yes.
Steam Deck. So it's like whenever I go somewhere, I'm either playing Sifu on my Steam Deck or I'm playing Streets of Rage 4 on my Steam Deck. It's like other than like Forza Horizon 5, which I like it better on the big screen just because of the details and stuff like that. But it's so much fun playing those beat 'em ups on like a handheld device. So yeah, it's perfect timing for He-Man to come out. And man, oh man, I can't wait.
I hope that the trend of because there was the GI Joe one that released. I'm playing that right now. It's phenomenal.
Mhm.
It's a lot of fun. Um, I'd love to see a Transformers come out. I'd love to see. I mean, we are going to get another Streets of Rage, and not continuing 4. This is, I guess, Streets of Rage 1 is being remade by Sega themselves. We know Golden Axe is getting remade in this big Sega, thing that they're doing, which I'm very excited for. Um, I really hope that we see. I mean, what kind of just baffles me, and again, I know that we're going a little bit all over the place here. Capcom likes doing remakes. I cannot believe they have not done a Final Fight remake as of yet. Like
Yeah.
it's unless they're working on it, because Capcom is like they have been hitting on all cylinders.
Mhm.
But so I mean, listen, Jeff had a great show yesterday. There was a lot to get into. We're only here for a limited amount of time. I do want to talk about what's going on right now, specifically with Xbox. And let me just get to my notes because I do have some things that I posted. So look, like already for me personally, and again, it's cartoon, it's a fighter. What blew me away was what the hell is it called? Oh my god! Let me get to my notes here. Hold on a sec. Versus
Oh yeah.
that looked. I mean, Jesus Christmas. I mean, if you like the Prime show, you're probably gonna love this.
Mhm.
Obviously, Omni Man was in Mortal Kombat. I didn't play that. I haven't really dug too far into Mortal Kombat 1, but I know he was a selectable character and he was as brutal as he was in the series. This game looks crazy. That's probably my game of the show so far. But
Okay.
then there's a lot. I mean, again, they did show a lot of games. It's a 3 hour thing. I mean, it for me. I like fighters. I think fighters coming back in the biggest way. Invincible versus looks like. Did you see Omni Man Super?
Yeah.
Oh my god! I mean, the person or the piece of meat that is left behind is missing arms and legs. And then on top of that, if that wasn't bad enough,
Yeah.
he drops a mountain on you. I
Yeah.
mean, Jesus Christmas. So yeah, that's that. I really thought that showed off super, super well.
Yeah.
I really like the Rogue of Prince of Persia. That looked
Mhm.
really good. I didn't expect that. I'm gonna be honest with you. And I like the Prince of Persia games, and again,
Mhm.
it is a bit of a rogue type of game, and I'm here for it.
Yeah.
Um, Out of curiosity, what jumped off the page for you personally, with the Xbox showcase so far?
For me, Invincible Versus definitely showed up in a big way.
Yeah.
Big fighter fan. And hopefully we also get was it Marvel token at some point, but I know that's not where this is going to be shown or anything like that. But the
I
Invincible
mean,
versus,
maybe. Yeah.
yeah, but the Invincible versus, like, I think that's going to be um I would say a very popular fighter on all consoles, because to my understanding, it's going to be a multi-plat at launch type of deal. And I think that one, not that it's going to outshine Marvel Token or anything like that, but I do think it's going to probably take away some of the player base from Mortal Kombat and Street Fighter 6 and stuff along those lines. And even King of Fighters, although King of Fighters is kind of, I wouldn't say forgotten at the moment, but yeah, just having this more of an animated or cartoon style fighter, I think goes a long way. And I know there's a lot of people out there waiting for like a Killer Instinct and stuff like that now, but I think this is probably a good idea for them, or a good idea partnering and having this on Xbox and everything, and on I believe it's on Game Pass as well. So I think this is going to be a draw for fighters for a good bit. Although I'm still waiting on more virtual fighter stuff as far as info for that one coming up too. But yeah, I would say Invincible Versus was one of the bigger ones for me. Although I do like the fact that we got a date for Keeper, so that's always a great thing to have the Double Fine studio with their release, and got to see some more of that and a little bit
That's
more
later
detail.
this year, right?
Yeah, I think October
Mm.
17th or something like that. So like mid-October time.
I mean, again, listen, it's Double Fine is a studio that just doesn't disappoint. I mean, they are they're an artistic like studio for sure. And they make games that not everybody's gonna like, sure, because again, not every piece of art you're gonna be, or you're gonna like. Something may be ugly to you and may be beautiful to me. Well, the way that they are, their artistic nature in what they've done over the years. I mean, a perfect example of, drawing off the page or outside of the lines is Psychonauts. Psychonauts 1 and 2, I mean, they're great platformers as a surface, but there's so much more deeper to that. And even though, Keeper, we have some information, we don't have all of the information. I am incredibly excited for that
Mhm.
game because it's Tim Schafer and his studio, and they just don't miss. Um, but
You also another one I keep on forgetting, with team Bloober Team Chronos,
Oh,
the New
yes,
Dawn.
yes, yes, yes. I've actually signed up to see if I can review that game. Oh my god, what was you know what?
Nice.
Hold on a sec. I have to pull up my notes. Give me just 1 second and I'll tell you exactly what the name of it is. It looks dope, dude, because it does look very Dead
Hmm.
Space-esque, if you will. And
Hmm.
who doesn't want that in their lives? Because yes, please.
Yeah,
Hold on a sec. Let me just what is the name of that game? Chronos.
yeah.
Yeah, that looked really good. I am all up. Yeah, again, they're known for horror. Blue Team, that's their thing.
Hmm.
Um, they're getting better,
Oh yeah.
right? We've seen the studio go from double A, right? I think Chronos, again, just based on what we've seen so far, it does look like a triple A developed game. I don't consider it to be double A. Silent Hill was another big step up for them, and hopefully this October, Xbox players will be able to get that as well.
Hmm.
Animusha looks phenomenal. Yes, please. You know what surprised a lot of people? It surprised me, and again, it's going to be one of those games you're going to die 10,000 times in the first board, and that is Super Meat Boy 3D.
Yeah.
That showed off really well. Co-op, which is cool.
Hmm.
But again, you're gonna die 1,000 times. But Metal Gear Solid, another game. I can't believe how good that game looks. Like,
Yeah.
wow! Talk about just completely blowing me away. But before we get into, because we're already 26 minutes in. I kind of want to really hone our opinions and thoughts onto what's going on with the ROG Ally Xbox, because this, obviously they opened the show talking about this. It was a lot of information. Two key pieces of information, Fuzzy, that the key piece of information was the price. Now, I do have a tweet here from one of the community's absolute best, Hazardor Gaming. Actually put out a tweet, and he got this from uh Bill Kun. They leaked, it says pricing alert. I have this tweet in front of me. The ROG Xbox Ally, the white one, right? The more consumer friendly. It's according to the leaked rumor, it's uh $549.99. Now, I read the comments, and some of the comments are stupid, of course, but some of them are saying that it's a bit of a scam for what you're getting. You seem to think otherwise, because of course you are a technical wizard. So we'll get to your thoughts on that in a second. And like we all thought and expected, the ROG Xbox Ally X, the big boy, which is what I'm going to get, and I believe Fuzzy and many people in this chat are going to get, is $899.99. Now, it is currently up on Best Buy. It is up on Amazon, and it is up on Xbox, but it is not available for price. Available for pre-order, and there's no price. So before I hand the mic over to you, Fuzzy, I do want to bring in that story from Mike Straw that I opened up today's podcast with, and it is from the InsiderGamingNetwork.com, and it goes on to say Xbox and Asus have delayed the Xbox Ally price reveal. This story was posted moments before we went live. And basically, I'm going to just read a couple of the paragraphs, folks, for context, for anyone that's just joining us now. It says, after confirming the release date of October 16th on its Gamescom stream and social media accounts on Wednesday, one thing that stood out was lacking, and of course, that was the price. Microsoft says that the delay of the official price is due to macroeconomics and its conditions, and that the company will announce full details in the coming weeks. However, those on the floor in Cologne, that might necessarily be the case. Now, again, I'm not, obviously I'm here in New York, so I'm not in Germany, so I couldn't tell you. I have not talked to Keosante, who I'm expecting is probably using the console as we speak, because, well, his channel is big enough to get into these kind of things. But it says here, according to Xbox Era's John Clark, and everybody knows John, word on the ground is that word on the ground is that following the leaked prices, Asus and Microsoft closely monitored the reactions. Clark said the original plan was to reveal the pricing and pre-order details alongside the release date announcement. After the $549.99 and $899.99 prices were leaked. However, those plans were seemingly changed. So right now, folks, which is a bit disappointing, I'm going to be honest with you, because I have a lot of people DMing me looking for me to help them, and of course I'm going to help as many people as I can. As soon as I get the link, I'll send it to everyone that has asked, and I'll drop it in all of our DMs. But wow, that's a bit disappointing. Disappointing, one, the leak, and disappointing, two, that based on what this article that I just read aloud is saying, is we might not be able to pre-order this thing for the next couple of weeks. That's a lot. What do you think, man?
I was hoping that they would say, "Oh, pre-orders are open today," kind of thing, because that would make the most sense. You showed it off, you've given the price, or the intent was to give the price without the leak and stuff like that, and then go from there. I really hope the 549 is accurate. But the main reason why I've always kind of thought that this thing would be at the 600 range for the lower spec one, which I know a lot of people are going to compare it to the price of a Series X or Series S. This is better than or more performant than what a Steam Deck will be. And unless you're getting like a refurbished one or the old, like the original launch LCD, if they still have those in stock at Valve or directly from the Steam store, you're going to spend at least the 549 range on that for around the same memory and hard drive space. Now the Legion Go S, which is basically a Steam Deck but made by Lenovo with the Steam software on it. That one was going for 549 for a while. The original price that they were targeting was 500, but we know how economics is going as of recent when it comes to some of these electronics. And it wound up being at the 549 range for that device. So if the regular Xbox Ally is at 549, I say that's well worth that entry point. If they wind up bumping it up later because of tariffs or any other trade deficit type of stuff, then I would say anything over the 600 mark, I can understand if you're not interested in it at that point, but up to 600, it's a good value. It's going to get you into the next generation as far as using the device for both Steam as well as Xbox games that are on the PC store. We'll see how they do the moving forward for the console games, which my gut feeling is we'll get some sort of compromise or at least some sort of deal where at least all the first party console stuff will be probably playable if there isn't a PC store equivalent. But that I can't speak for Xbox, but just going on gut, I believe that'll be the case. But at 549, it's well worth the price point. Now on the Xbox Ally X, 900 is still a good price for it, but I was hoping that it would be closer to 800, just for the fact that that would be a more convincing price point for those that might be on the fence. Like for those of us that are already, convinced on what the Xbox Ally X can do and where it will fit as far as our gaming, usage and stuff, we're already sold at this point. But for those that are like, well, this is more expensive than a PS5 Pro. There's pre-built PCs that I can get for about maybe 100 or 200 more. Would that be a better deal? And it's hard to say would it be a better deal. I think honestly, looking at that $900 price, until you sit down and like, as long as you have good internet to do Wi-Fi. I mean, in a lot of cases, you can get a hub or a dock that will do the direct connect, like what most of us probably do for our console, where you can wire it as opposed to doing the Wi-Fi. If you have strong Wi-Fi, you get a dock. You can connect this to your TV or you can connect it to a monitor. Now, keep in mind, it is geared for 1080 resolution as opposed to 4K. You can upscale it, but certain games like something like a Cyberpunk 2077 is going to require more resources. So doing that upscale to 4K on your 4K TV through your hub, it'll run on the X with no problem, but it's not going to be as smooth of a 60 experience as you would probably like. If you do it at the 30, it'll be pretty much as smooth as the consoles, but it may not be as crisp as like what the Series X can do. But overall, the 24 gigs of memory, that thing is definitely going to be able to last you well into the next generation as far as games. Like even Witcher, I guess that would be Witcher 4 when it comes out. That will be able to play handedly on that device without much problem. But the $900 price point is going to scare some. The 549, for those that don't think it's worth the money, I hear you. I would say if 549 is out of reach, look at like something like a Steam Deck, maybe a refurbished one. I think the last time I looked for a refurbished for like what I have, which is a launch one with the 512, I think they were going for 349. Now it was a lot more when that thing came out, like almost I guess 2 years ago now or so. But yeah, you could probably pick up a refurbished one for 350. But
Wow.
for new tech that will last into the next generation and still be usable, whether portable or docked and connected to your TV. Which docks, you can get some on Amazon for as low as $40. Those are your very basic ones where it's like one monitor output or TV output, and possibly two USB outputs, and then maybe a network cable input. Um, but as far as some of the beefier ones, or ones that will give you a lot more options as far as multiple USB A or USB C ports, so that way if you want to have keyboard and mouse, or maybe a wireless setup for the keyboard and mouse, and then maybe like an extended hard drive. Although you're better off probably using a scan card, or not SSD, but like one of those scan disk cards, as far as extending the space on it. But prices are reasonable for the tech you're getting, and it'd have been nice if they made it official. But I don't know if PlayStation is really bumping up their price, because they've been the ones that have been the longest holdout for raising prices in the US, just for the fact that they know that that's a core of their business, is selling that box. So if
Yes.
they're finally raising that price, then either they predict something is coming up the pipe, which I haven't read all the finite details, but there are penalties for some of these companies using outsourced or non-domestic chips. So I don't know if they're counting or taking that into account, um, or if they're going to have, because before it was more so where it was manufactured, which PlayStation's already moved some of their manufacturing from China. Same thing with Xbox. They moved some of their manufacturing from China. But
Yeah.
if the chips are coming from there, or if the chips are coming even from Korea for that matter, there are supposed to be some penalties for some of these companies. So that might be why you're seeing a $50 bump on the PlayStation 5. And worst case scenario, possibly a $50 bump on the ROG Xbox Ally. But I don't think it's the case as much. But if they're postponing something behind the scenes, either maybe they lower it because of the pushback on the 549 or the 899, or it might be that they bump it up $50 because of unforeseen expenses because of the tariffs, and bringing manufacturing for chips and things like that to the States is affecting the immediate supply and stuff like that. So we'll see.
I hope that's not the case. And again, obviously, we got to give a shout out to Do UK Now, the broke boy insider. Poor Will has his point stolen. It wasn't on purpose, brother. I have three screens open. He drops a very generous $2 super chat, and he actually says, disappointed that they didn't give Ally pre-orders data. Got it up on the screen. Yeah, and you know what, you're 100% right. I just look, I got to be honest with you. This is one of those situations where you got to give Xbox some smoke. Like, well, first of all, I understand leaks happen, right? Like,
Mhm.
I get it. This is the world we're in. You're in a big space, but bro, like, are you serious? And it's not like we didn't know. Like, oh my god, what a surprise! They showed the ROG Ally. We known about this for months.
Yeah.
So I mean, like, you make the announcement, you open the show with it. Everyone, I mean, everyone that's interested in this thing is waiting for the price.
Mhm.
And you show it off. We get a ton of really, really great info, and they're doing a bunch of things. It's the console's going to come out. They're going to keep innovating, keep adding things, keep doing things. You're all excited, right? I'm all excited. Like, oh my god, this is going to be great.
Mhm.
Jez Corden put out. You know what? Let me get to my notes. Jez Corden put out something that was really, really awesome. He says this, ladies and gentlemen, finally tried out the Xbox Ally. So good. The hardware and is our one thing to hype up. the changes to Windows are going to be amazing, not just for the Ally, but for a variety of new gaming PC designs and form factors. Um, I mean that's high praise. You know, again, doesn't have hair on his tongue. If he doesn't like something, he lets you know.
Yeah.
And we had a tweet here from Tom Warren talking about the Xbox Ally, and he says it's official. The new Xbox Ally handhelds are arriving October 16th. Microsoft and Asus aren't announcing pricing yet, though. Microsoft has also has Microsoft also has a new handheld compact program, a new highlight reel feature, and an auto SR is coming soon. Full details in this article, which of course I'm going to link. And Ginger Prime, shout out to Ginger who might be listening. He actually posted, it was one of the first posters for Tom's Twitter post. He says, I just need the pre-order details. And yeah, so of course, Will the Broke Boy Insider does what he always does. He drops an additional, very generous $5 super chat and says, Double Barrel Gaming, damn it, Boom, you did steal my point even after you liked the super chat. The disrespect, man. Just kidding, kinda, but still, come on, brother. I didn't actually like it. I didn't even see it, to be honest with you, because like I said, I'm on 3 screens. But my apologies to you once again. That's why I wanted to throw your super chat on the screen so everyone can see it. It did come first from Will the Insider. We also have Lord Roughness dropping a very generous £5 super chat. And he says, Hi, Boom and Fuzzy. I have had my Ally X since March, and it's awesome. Really like the AB Ally X, but the grips are putting me off. You know what's funny? They specifically made mention of that, where if you look at it lying down, it's kind of like at a slant, and it's not flat. And the way that they described it, I mean, I haven't had a chance to hold it. I have a ROG Ally. I have the original launch one, and it's okay. I like what they did with this though. And from again, I have not held it yet. But I'm gonna get it. Hopefully the grips are good for you, and maybe they might even be better than the Ally X. But we will certainly see. Thank you for the additional. I mean, for the super chat, Lord Roughness. We definitely appreciate it. But before we get on out of here, any additional thoughts?
Yeah, I think something must have spooked them in the background. Hopefully they consider lowering the price just a little bit. I have my doubts. It is a business. They
I hope
very
they don't.
rarely.
They don't. Lower is great. Raising, oh, man, that would be devastating. I'm sorry.
Yeah, I'm hoping it's not something along those lines, especially considering now PlayStation raising their price. That they finally saw something coming down the pipeline as far as their price increase. But I like I said, the one in white, the regular Xbox Ally, even at a $600 price point, it's well worth it. If you're new to PC gaming or new to handhelds, as far as the modern ones or the current gen, outside of like a Switch 2 or anything, which Switch 2, it's a great piece of tech. It's just not anywhere on par with any of the PC handhelds, but it's serviceable in the sense for Nintendo games. They tune those games to that device and it works great. But when you're looking at like these handhelds, if you've ever looked at some of the most played games on Steam that very rarely, if never, come to console, these types of devices, I would say, just short of its bigger brother, it's one of the beefier devices of the previous gen. So unless you have a Z1 Extreme, which the previous ROG Ally X, that's the previous gen of chipset compared to the Z2 that's in, or the Z2 Extreme that's in the Xbox Ally X. But for comparison's sake, for like the basic devices out there, the Xbox Ally is above the Steam Deck, and will pretty much remain there until there's a Steam Deck 2, which the way Valve is talking, there's probably not going to be a Steam Deck 2 until either late 2026 or sometime in 2027, because they're waiting, I guess, to kind of leapfrog on chipset stuff. So we'll see how long it takes them on that. But with the Xbox Ally X, that is as good of a device for the dollar when it comes to PC gaming. Sure, you can build something, stationary that's, a little bit better in maybe visuals, but not going to be portable or as easily portable or things along those lines, if that matters to you. But I know for a lot of people, they might be hesitant for handhelds. I was looking at the Steam Deck when it came out as I'll give it a try, and maybe this portable device thing will catch on, and it grabbed me big time. So having a handheld for like games like Vampire Survivor, games like Streets of Rage, or even some of your favorite games, like I've seen people play Call of Duty on them. I've seen people play, I've actually played Forza Horizon 5 on there, and even I guess you could say more visually intensive games like BNG Drive, which that one is more of like a crash simulator with soft body physics and stuff. So if you've ever seen, like, imagine a PC heavy game version of like Wreckfest, where you have that type of destruction, but it's not just like junk cars that you put paint on. It's like you can have a semi truck or a pickup truck or any type of vehicle you've seen, just not the actual licensed vehicles, with that soft body physics, and have 30 vehicles on screen, and each one of them being able to take that soft body damage is pretty CPU intensive. But yeah, these devices, they're going to cost, but the initial leak price, if it stays at the 550 mark and 900 mark, they're well worth that money for someone that's looking to get into PC gaming, or like a hybrid in between type of deal. So just be prepared for the pre-order announcement, hopefully in the next few days or weeks or so, or within the next few weeks, hopefully.
Yeah, this is one of those things. It's a bit of a head scratching moment for Xbox. I just, when these kind of mistakes happen, it's just shocking to me. You are a $4 trillion company, man. This is one of the biggest announcements that people were expecting. Okay, they showed a bunch of stuff that's playable, right? They showed a bunch of new things it's going to be able to do. You know how like they have the Steam Deck verified section for the Steam Deck. They're going to have that a form factor for Xbox, right? Which is awesome, right? You love to see it. Innovation is great. But the freaking pre-orders everybody was waiting for, including myself. And nobody wants to get boxed out of not getting it. And look, I'm going to be honest with you. I don't know how many people in the chat are lining up to spend potentially $949, because again, this thing might go up $50. And if it does, that's going to suck. $899 again. If you, I guess some people are going to be in the chat. Well, boom, if you're going to spend $900 plus, the tax, what's another 50? I guess. But I'd rather have $50 more in my pocket. I'm just saying.
Exactly.
Somebody in the chat said that the Prince of Persia is in Game Pass. Is that true?
I gotta double check. I don't.
You know what? I've been away from my console. Real quick. Again, before we get on out of here, I was finishing up a video. I reviewed. I don't know if you guys can see it. It is the Ferox M5 from QRD. They sent me this controller. I normally don't do reviews for third-party controllers because I collect like the Xbox controllers. I have like 5 of the special editions of PS5 ones, a ton of the Nintendo ones. Look for the review, folks. It's about 5 minutes. I'm glad I reviewed the controller. I really am. I normally don't do. Let's see. Yeah, he says yes. Actually, yep. It's in Game Pass. And Curry Cosmos and Danaro says that. Mac City ENT says it's true. That's freaking awesome, man. Yeah. Oh my god. Now I know they released a new Final Fantasy game. It was a Shadow Drop by Square. Is that also in Game Pass? Because I haven't been to my console, folks. I've been busy all morning. But if it is, we're only Cullen Prime's asking. We're only doing an hour show. Yeah, brother. This is an impromptu one. I wasn't even sure I was going to get a chance to do it. My life has been turned upside down since yesterday. Trying to get this stuff worked out at home, but we're good. We're going to be back tonight at 7. Hargeet and myself. We might have a guest. We might not. We're gonna go over what happened today at the Xbox showcase in Cologne, in Germany. We'll give our picks of the show. We'll talk about ROG. I mean, I don't think it's going to get cleared up by this evening. We might get some additional information. Maybe Jez Corden will do some digging into what happened, why it leaked, why they got spooked by the price. Are they going pro-consumer and dropping it a little bit because they got, they heard some of the feedback and like, oh my God, 900. Maybe they drop it $100 or they increase it. We're definitely going to open up with the price increase for the PlayStation 5. If you did not know, it went up $50, and boy, oh boy, they're slick. Those fine folks over at Sony Interactive Entertainment. They did it during GAMESCOM where they thought nobody would actually notice or care. Well, I noticed because I got about 17 DMs telling me that it went up there. So we'll talk about it. It's $50. It's not that big of a deal, but it does raise the price of the Pro by $50, and it was already pricey. So I don't know. We'll see. But listen, Fuzzy, thanks so much for joining me, brother. We super appreciate it. A big thank you to all the super chats. And did we get another super chat in here? We did. We get one over here. Will the Broke Boy Insider? Yeah, I actually caught this after they said it because I was doing something and I rewound the stream. So he drops an additional $5 super chat, and he says they actually took a little shot at the PlayStation Portal when they talked about it too. He said they said we didn't just split a controller in half. Yeah, I noticed that, and kind of just slapped the screen in there. That was definitely a shot across the bow. Will, thanks so much for the additional $5, brother, and for the comment because yeah, I did notice that. I'm like, did they just take a shot? And sure enough, they did.
Yeah,
but what's Belvedere? Let me get you back. Get you back to the missus and the kids and everything. Sell the brand, brother. Let's talk about Friday's Fright Night with Ferocious Fee, 6 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. I know last week you missed it because you were doing a bunch of work in the house. Well, hopefully you guys are going to be back this week and you're going to be able to talk about, well, whatever you guys want to talk about. And there's a lot to get into. Sell the brand, brother. I know that you made mention that you might be talking about the original Texas Chainsaw Massacre, which I saw when I was a kid. I can't believe my mom let me watch it, but it freaked me out. But let's talk about it, brother.
Oh yeah. Well, once again, thanks for having me on. Always love talking about games and what's coming up in this industry. Always a fan of this industry and this hobby. So anytime I can, I definitely will be here for the conversation. And as far as for me and my wife's YouTube, I put the links in the chat. This Friday, 6 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, we will be reviewing or talking about the original Texas Chainsaw Massacre. So if you've seen it or been on the fence, or maybe you saw the more recent remake and haven't checked out the original, definitely come hang out with us at 6 p.m. this Friday. We're going to go through it, the good and bad and the in between, as far as like, because the classics are just that. They're the classics, and they have their appeal, and there's so much that was done right in that original. And then there are some that don't like the remakes as much, or do like the remakes, but we'll put them to the test as far as see which part of the panel likes the newer one better or the original better. I'm leaning more towards the original because it being in black and white and whatnot. I think that has a little bit more of a scarier presence to it, kind of thing. So, but yeah, come join us Friday, 6 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Fright Night with Ferocious Fee. The link is in the chat. Hope to see you guys there, and keep your eyes peeled for more gaming stuff because this week's not over. Gamescom is going to still have some more things to unveil and maybe some more shadow drops. But yeah, this is going to be a fun week. So if you're into gaming, keep your eyes open.
And of course, if you're into gaming and like to save money, Game Pass, because damn, they keep adding and adding and adding, and my backlog keeps getting bigger. I'm a big old man. I'm a 6-foot man, and my backlog is 3 times my size. It's ridiculous. I just don't have the time. But thank you, ladies and gentlemen, for everyone that showed up to kind of hang out with me and Fuzzy Belvedere. Big shout out to Fuzzy for joining me because I originally thought I was going to be hanging out here because again, this was an impromptu kind of a post. And I didn't think I actually was going to cover it, but all of this news with the ROG Ally, I figured, you know what, let me just jump on, even if it's for 45 minutes to an hour, and we're coming up in on an hour. So we'll be back tonight, ladies and gentlemen, 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Myself and Hargi Chani, we're going to get into the Final Fantasy confirmation for this winter. Zach Riley in the chat just asked about that. I have some thoughts, folks. Another one, I'm just disappointed. I'm sorry. What are we waiting for? I don't understand this. Winter. You guys know the release date. That should have been front and center. So I'm a bit disappointed. I'll go into more details about that. And we'll go over all of the small announcements from today, all the big games that they showed off, and we'll hear what Hargeet has to say about the potential pricing going up $50 or maybe down $50. We'll see which way they decide to go. But that's going to do it for us here. A big thank you to all of the super chats, channel member chats, and gifted subs that continue to come in from you fine folks in the chat. Mrs. Boom and I are incredibly grateful for the support. And of course, I'm going to close the show with something that's incredibly important to me, ladies and gentlemen. Hopefully one day will be important to you. And that's something that my dad taught us when we were kids. He would say, Craig, treat others how you want to be treated. And also, it doesn't cost anything to be nice. You live by those rules, son. I can guarantee you're going to have an awesome day. So take care, everyone. And we'll see you on the next episode of Double Barrel Gaming Presents.